Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're hearing this lesson or watching this lesson and seeing my face or my voice. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here with our next Expert Secrets Mastermind Coaching lesson from the book Expert Secrets by Russell Brunson. Love this book. We're going through it one step at a time, breaking it down to make it easily digestible so you can actually do it and put it to work in your life and in your business. So you can share your expertise and your genius with the world because the world needs it. We are on secret number 15. Secret 15 is all about the stack. This is probably the weirdest to do. Maybe not the, yeah, this was the weirdest thing for me to do the first time I went through and did it. And it seems repetitive and silly, but it's so powerful and it works so well. Just do it. Do it exactly as it's laid out in chapter, I don't know what chapter. It starts on page, it's secret 15. So let's say chapter 15. Page 177 it starts, and it goes to, we're going to break this into 3 parts. So part 1, I'm going to give you the little introduction part, and then we're going to do the master class, our course, which is our main product that we're creating with our folks in our beta group. And then I'm going to cut that off. So that'll be part 1. And then as we go into the tools, that will be part 2. If you don't know what I'm talking about, don't worry, you'll know soon. So the stack slide. Russell learned this from Armin Morin, who I love. Armin Morin, great guy. I've been on some cruises on the Jim Edwards gym boat with him. And he and his family are just wonderful people. And he taught Russell this thing called the stack slide, what we're going to spend the next 3 days on. It's the same thing that we created. It's like our offer stack slide that we created in secret number 9. We're going to pull that out and we're going to use that and we're going to communicate it in a very specific, very certain way. And we're going to make sure that we add different components to it, which is why I'm breaking it into 3 days, so that we get the most. And our people that we're trying to bring into our offer, they know that it's for them. The purpose, part of the purpose of this whole presentation is, yes, to break people's false beliefs and help them understand that things are possible for them that they might not believe when they first started hearing our presentation, whether it's in the web form, whether it's a written form, whatever. Now, I contend it's a little harder to do a stack slide in an article, but it's possible to do a version of a stack slide in an article or in a written document. It actually is possible. I've been experimenting with it. It's kind of fun to see how you can break it into different emails and different ways of communicating with people. So the stack slide, learned about it from Armin, super powerful. We're just going to go with it. You can read about it in the book, but we're going to go with it and do it exactly how Russell tells us to. And then later on, if we want to tweak it and test a little bit, and I'm saying test little things, don't test these core fundamentals, that's fine. But let's start with what he teaches us, because he has spent 10 years trial and erroring this. He spent the last 4 years for sure really perfecting this. So if you really want to see an example of this, just go online and watch one of his webinars and watch how he does things, what he says and how he says it. It's not really about the what he's selling so much as how he's selling it, how he's marketing it. Become a student of how people are presenting their offers to people, and you'll see them everywhere, and you'll see good examples and bad examples, and as you observe them, you'll figure out what works for you and what doesn't. But let's go ahead and work with Russell on this. So the first part of our stack slide is, of course, your main primary offer, which is our course. In this book, we're all creating a course, a master class, and that's what we're going to talk about and present here. If you already have a product or service that you want to present as part of your expertise and stack slide, then this is where you would discuss that. Couple of key things. Number 1, do not over describe or spend too much time describing what is included in your course or class. Remember, we're just speaking to the overview of what they want, not what they need. We all know what they need. We all know they need a gazillion things to be successful, and a lot of them are mindset and things that people don't want to hear about. But you can't sell them on that. You have to just do a brief overview of the key components they're going to get. And on page 179, he does an excellent job of doing a fill-in-the-blank way of saying it and describing it. I'm going to recommend you write your own version of that or use this one the first couple times you go through until you get comfortable with really being non-detailed, non-specific. People will throw up their course and they'll do their course and they'll say the 6 modules like he recommends on page 179. You know, here's the deliverables. Here's the course we're going to teach you and the 6 components that you've gotten from your Ask campaign. And then they'll go in and they'll put a whole page slide of all the details of everything that's in that particular segment of the masterclass. Big mistake. Huge mistake. It kills their conversions because people get overwhelmed and they get confused and they say, oh my God, I couldn't even learn the thing in one module, much less all the modules. So they get confused and they say no. They say, I'm not going to do that. So do not go deep on these modules. It should take 30 seconds to describe your masterclass on the slide. Then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to go into case studies. You're going to show them case studies of people successfully going through the course. So take examples of people from your beta class, their case studies, the results they got, and share those here. So he gives 3 examples. You know, let me introduce you to, and then he tells case study 1. Then there's somebody else and he says case study 2. And probably my favorite story is case number 3. Then he goes into the who does this work for slide, because as soon as you share case studies, in people's mind it triggers, well, I'm different. That won't necessarily work for me. Yeah, I see how it worked for Joe because he's from Australia and because he's got that cool accent. Of course it worked for him, but it won't work for me because I'm just a Midwesterner with no accent at all, and so no, nobody will listen to me. And they go through this whole thing about why it won't work for them and how they're different and their business is different and their area of expertise is so different and their background is different and their experience, and therefore no one will listen to them and it won't work for them. Mostly it won't work for them, not that no one will listen. So he goes ahead and does, remember earlier in the presentation, I don't know if we've talked about this or not, but he has a who does this work for slide. I do that early on in my presentation, like right as part of the introduction, and I do the same exact slide again right here of listing out all the people that it works for, and I make sure that it's very inclusive and that they know that it'll work for them too. Just because they're not like the exact case study that I shared, there's probably some similarities. Like maybe they're brand new and they've never done anything like this before. So I'm going to share a case study like that. I'm going to think about what are the main objections that people have, and those are the case studies I'm going to share, or the really good result ones. So I'm going to share that slide because everybody thinks they're different. And then again on page 181, he gives us a couple examples of to do that, to make sure that you go back and remind people that it's for them. And then he does a whole slide on people's number one reason for not getting started, the elephant in the room. He calls that out. For all of our areas of expertise in all of our businesses, there's usually a number one reason people don't get started. It's usually got something to do with or why they don't get started right now. And it's usually got something to do with they don't have time, they don't have the money, they don't know that it'll work for them, they don't know what to do, something along those lines. So what we want to do is we want to give them something immediately. And for Russell, it was they don't have a product. So he's like, hey, don't worry, you don't need a product. You can use it for affiliate products, but we're going to give you this course that teaches this mini course, or this video it usually is, that teaches you how to do this one thing that you're missing. That's the reason you don't think you can get started today. So in my restaurant business webinar, it's like, even if you don't have a restaurant today, or if they don't have an idea of who they want to work with, or my biggest one is they don't have a system for getting customers automatically to their restaurant. And so I give that to them. I just give that to them as what I call a blue plate special, how to actually get customers coming to their business on autopilot so that they don't even have to worry about it. That's done for them. And they now automatically have a free system of getting customers coming to their business on autopilot. Because that's the number one reason people don't get started in that particular course, because they're like, I'm not doing anything. I'm like all the other restaurants out there. I'm not doing anything. And so I can't get started because I'm not doing anything. And so we knock that hurdle out by giving them the automatic way to get customers coming to them. So now they're already started. So that's where we're going to end part one today. Go through this chapter. Write it out. We're writing out our script longhand. Write out what you're going to say on each of these slides, slide by slide. And then tomorrow we will dig into the tools. And I want to make this maybe a whole day because this is an area people really struggle with. They make it super complicated, and it doesn't have to be complicated at all. So go ahead, work on the first part of your stack, and I will see you tomorrow with the tools you need, actually the tools they need to really be successful. See you tomorrow. Bye.